All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're breaking down the complete master blueprint for Filipino entrepreneurs. We're talking about how you can take your agency and forge a real partnership with U.S. companies. This is the offshore to onshore pipeline, fully explained. So, you're running your agency in Cebu, and you're looking at the U.S. market. It feels like a massive jump, right? Well, it turns out there's a very clear path from being a founder at home to becoming an executive partner in the States. And this right here, this is your roadmap. Okay, first things first, you have to understand the biggest hurdle. By law, the person interviewing you at the embassy has to start with one assumption, that you're trying to stay in the US illegally. That's the default. Your entire job is to prove that assumption wrong. So how do you beat a system that's kind of set up for you to fail? Not with wishful thinking, that's for sure. You beat it with a flawless, airtight strategy. We're going to walk you through the exact blueprint a real founder used to get her visa. It's all about building a case that's so logical, so undeniable, that your plan to return home is crystal clear. So here's what we're covering. We'll start with building your bulletproof financial foundation. Then we'll get into planning the strategic observation trip. After that, we'll master the 2-minute interview, which is crucial. And finally, we'll look at the big picture, how to go from a visitor to a full-on partner. Let's kick things off with the most critical piece of the puzzle. And it all happens way before you even think about the interview. It's your financial foundation. This is where you really win or lose. You've got to prove that this trip is a smart business move, not some desperate escape plan. This right here, this is your golden key, your official stamped tax documents from the Bureau of Internal Revenue. These are non-negotiable. They are the single most powerful proof you have that screams, hey, I'm a legit business owner, and I have serious roots and responsibilities right here in the Philippines. Next up, you have to be super strategic with how you handle your money. Don't just mix everything together. You need 2 accounts. One is for your day-to-day business operations. The other is a totally separate savings account that you label specifically for this trip. This shows the consular officer that you're a serious, organized professional. So what's the magic number you're aiming for? Well, the ideal target to have in that special travel account is about $5,000 US. This shows you can easily cover a 6-week trip without any issues. But here's the key. That money needs to build up over a few months. It shows steady income and success, not a sudden windfall. And this is absolutely crucial, so listen up. A sudden, massive cash deposit is a giant red flag. So about 2 months before your trip, you're going to invoice your US client, and the line item will say Advanced Travel and Observation Funds. This creates a beautiful, clean paper trail that explains exactly where that money came from. Okay, with your finances looking solid, it's time to frame the trip itself. And this requires a huge mental shift. You are not going to the US to work. You are a business owner, a founder, going on an observation mission. The words you choose are everything. You don't have a job or a boss. You run an agency and you have a client. You don't get a salary, you send an invoice. And you are absolutely not going for training, you're going for observation. Getting this language right is critical. Your travel plan, your itinerary, needs to reflect this owner mindset. So the first 3 weeks, all business, B2B observation, meeting clients, seeing how they operate. But then you take a well-deserved CEO vacation for the next 3 weeks. And here's a pro tip. Including a famous tourist trap like Disney World is actually a brilliant move. It's a huge signal to officials of your genuine tourist intent. And here is a super simple rule to live by while you're there. We call it the golden hardware rule. You cannot, under any circumstances, touch an American computer. You're there to observe, remember? Not to do work. You only use your own laptop or your own iPad to check in with your team back home. That's it. All right, this is it, the moment of truth. The whole process, all these months of preparation, it all comes down to an interview that will probably last less than 2 minutes. It is a high-stakes performance, and your confidence, your prep, and your exact choice of words will make or break the whole thing. These words are poison, seriously. The second any of these come out of your mouth, you're framing yourself as a potential employee, and that's the fastest way to get your visa denied. Burn these words into your brain as things you will never say. This is almost always how it starts. The officer will look at you and ask this one simple question. They want to know your purpose, and your answer needs to be a perfect, tight summary of your entire strategy. And here it is, the perfect answer. It hits every key point. It establishes you as a founder, not an employee. It states the business purpose is observation to grow your business back home, and it clearly includes the vacation part. It's confident, truthful, and totally low risk. Okay, you nailed the first question. Now comes the second most critical one, and it's always about the money. They need to make sure you're not being lured over with the promise of a U.S. salary. And this answer is just flawless. It reinforces that this is a business-to-business transaction. Your business invoiced the client. And that little phrase, professional courtesy for the hotel, it's genius. It explains their support without ever implying you're an employee. So let's zoom out and look at the long game here. Because that first visitor visa, the B1/B2, that's not the end goal. Nope. It's the critical first step, the key that unlocks the door to something much, much bigger. You have to think of this as a 2-year play. Year 1 is all about that successful observation trip. Then you go home and you spend the next year scaling your agency based on what you learned. That sets you up perfectly for year 2, transitioning to an L1A visa. That's the one for intracompany executive transfers. And this is the ultimate prize. The L1A visa comes with a legal concept called dual intent. And trust me, it is a complete game changer. With this visa, that legal assumption we talked about flips 180 degrees. You are now legally allowed to live and work in the U.S. as a multinational executive. You don't have to prove you're going home anymore. So there you have it, a proven step-by-step path from running your agency in Cebu to becoming a partner in the U.S. You've got the blueprint right in front of you. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?